Joining me now is author and political commentator Shamika Michelle.
When God looked at man, he said it's not good for man to be alone. He gave him a woman. He didn't give him a village. He didn't give him the community. He said, be fruitful and multiply to this man and this woman. So it's supposed to be God, husband, wife.
If you always do what you've always done, you will always get what you've always done.
My name is Stacy Sheridan. 8 years ago, I met Charlie in a crowded ballroom in West Palm Beach at a David Horowitz Freedom Center event. We spoke briefly, we exchanged cards, and I thought nothing of it. What ultimately made me want to join Charlie's cause and Charlie's team, because he began a quest to hire me after meeting me. I was reluctant at first, but it was his naive audaciousness to change the world that ultimately sold me. It was the best decision I've ever made, and I've never looked back. Yes, technically, Charlie was my boss, but it really never felt that way. Far more than my boss, I felt like he was my little brother. So the guys that went before me spoke about him as a boss and a leader. I'm going to speak about him from my heart as a family member. In 2022, my husband, Mike, became sick with cancer. 2 years later, that cancer took his life. Throughout those 2 years, Charlie called me consistently to ask how he could help us. At one point, he had critical medication and an oxygen machine sent to my doorstep without my knowledge. I still to this day have no idea how he made that happen. But that was Charlie. He did the right thing. There was no limit to how far he'd go to help a friend. He wasn't looking for publicity or credit. He did it because that's what a leader does. That's what a friend does. And that's what a Christian is supposed to do. Sometimes I would express guilt to Charlie that I couldn't do my job at 100%. Charlie's response every single time was family first. When Mike ultimately passed away, Charlie and the entire team were there for us yet again. They helped my daughter Grace through the unbearable tragedy of losing her father on her 9th birthday. But Charlie's help didn't stop there. This January, I lost my home in the Pacific Palisades fire. Charlie's response was very clear and very direct. This is a sign. You and Grace belong in Arizona now. Within a few months, we moved here, and Charlie and Erica welcomed us into their family. While enduring our various tragedies, my daughter Grace would ask me at least once a day, "Why would God do this to us, Mom?" My honest and only answer was, someday we will look at each other and instantly know why all of this had to happen. And it will be for something far greater than we can ever imagine. In my first conversation with Grace after Charlie's death, Grace said to me through tears over the phone, "Mom, this is the answer to my question. This is our why. Now we can be there for Erica and Gigi and Mac the way they were there for us." Looking back today, it's so clear to me that Grace was right. I know for certain that my late husband, Mike, Charlie, and God were guiding us here for this very moment in time. It was always written. Erica, Grace and I will support you and your babies the way you and Charlie were there for us in our darkest days. Charlie, we will miss your words of wisdom, your high-pitched laugh, it was kind of awkward, and the way your voice would always soften when you spoke to Erica and your children. And I promise we're gonna make TPUSA so big that it reaches you in heaven. Everything Charlie prayed for in his life, a restoration of faith, a rebirth of patriotism, is coming to fruition in his death. And right now, he is beaming at us from heaven. The fact that we pulled this off in 7 days is a miracle that only Charlie Kirk can deliver, by the way. So in Charlie's words, let's get to work, everybody. We have a country to save. Thank you.
Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Welcome to Shaking My Head with Shamika Michelle. I am your host, Shamika Michelle. And last week, we spent time explaining how money moves within Turning Point USA. Today, we're going to stop talking about structure and start talking about who gets paid. Who gets paid? This is where patterns matter. This is where it matters. And so I'm just going to briefly go back through last week, not really long because it doesn't matter. We took time going through that last week. We discussed how Turning Point brings in $85 million a year. That is not including this year, which we know they have already exceeded after the death of Charlie Kirk. So what is, we talked about how they move money from, they have all these different organizations. They have Turning Point Action. They have the Endowment Fund. They have the major TPUSA, which the money comes from. We discussed all of that last week and how it moves from one place to the next. So today, let's start with what is an insider LLC. An insider LLC is a private company created by someone working inside an organization, which then receives contracts from that same organization. That arrangement can be legal. I have to keep stating this because people keep saying, oh, well, it's legal. Oh, well, it's legal. Nothing is happening that is illegal. It can be legal. What matters is how often it happens, how much money is involved, and how transparent the services are. That's what matters most. So here, today we're talking about Stacy Sheridan. That was the person you just watched in the video from Charlie's memorial, and she was discussing how she became to be at TPUSA. Stacy Sheridan. Stacy was the Advanced Strategic Director of TPUSA, earning over $180,000. Okay, these are just facts that come from their very own tax filings. I'm not making this stuff up. I have explained to you all last week that an investigative accountant did this. I have 27 pages of documents, which in all honesty is more than 27 pages because you have all of the filings. There's links within here that will take you to different filings, to different pictures. 27 documents is just what I printed out. So for the people who keep coming saying, can't you do this faster? Or this was an hour just for this little bit of information. It's a lot of information here. And so I asked someone, do you have a better, faster way to do this more efficiently so that people can all understand and be on the same page? I never heard back from them. But if you have a faster way, please let me know, because what we discussed last week is that they were pretty much arrogant in their movings and their dealings because they never thought someone would actually come and go through all of this, taking apart this spider web. And we talked about what an entangled web it is. So I am going through this as slowly as possible so you all can understand. Someone also said, oh my God, we're not going to believe this lady. She's reading the script. Do you think that I'm an elephant or that I have the ability to memorize all of this stuff when I clearly said an investigative accountant did this, gave me the information? This isn't just coming from within. So yes, I am using notes, and I'm using, as I stated before, TPUSA's own filings. So if it bothers you that I have to look at some notes, a whole stack of them, a lot, don't stop here. Because this isn't just in my brain. I'm not just rattling it off. It's not off the cuff. It's not a riff. It's not coming from within. It is coming from actual notes from their own filings. So yes, I am reading a script because this isn't in my information. It's theirs. It's the investigative accountant's information pulled from their own filings. And they gave it to me, and I am creating broadcasts based on the information given to me. So again, if you wanted this to just come out of my brain, wrong show. This is from the investigative accountant's findings based on TPUSA's filings. So I will have to look at their paperwork in order to give you this information. Okay. Back to Stacy Sheridan, the advanced strategic director who was earning over $180,000 a year. She also had multiple LLCs. The LLCs were paid by turning point entities. So what we've learned from the tax papers is that Stacy Sheridan had 3 LLCs. This is going to show you that this isn't just one person. This is a pattern, which is why we started with her. This is a pattern. What we know is LLC number 1 is called GSM Strategies. Paid in 2018 while she was an employee with TPUSA. So she had this LLC and she was an employee at the same time. This LLC, GSM, raised or received over $96,000, roughly 25% of funds raised. 25% of funds raised. And what I want you all to know is there's different ways that these are set up. You have fundraisers as agents, which is what Stacy seemed to do. And then you have fundraisers as consultants. We'll get to the consultants, but she was a fundraiser as an agent. Okay. So at the same time, she held a senior fundraising role. her private company was paid tens of thousands of dollars for fundraising services. These were separate amounts. LLC number 2, Lion Rock Ventures, paid from 2018 to 2020 about $1.5 million. So we have GSM and we have Lion Rock Ventures all making money at the same time, plus the salary that she was also receiving for the position she was in as a senior person in TPUSA. This same pattern repeats under a different company name. The LLC number 3 is Cloverstone Ventures. This is the key company. It was paid between 2020 and 2023. Cloverstone Ventures received over $3 million. She is listed as having custody or control of donor funds. Again, they're set up 2 ways: fundraisers as agents, fundraisers as consultants. She was the agent, meaning donors technically gave to Cloverstone Ventures, and then Cloverstone then passed it on to TPUSA minus their fee. Cloverstone is especially significant because filings indicate it had custody of donor contributions. Fundraiser as agent, meaning donor checks went to the vendor before reaching turning point. Are we on the same page with this? Fundraiser as agent. Why this matters. Across 3 different LLCs, the investigators' documents show that there was roughly $5 million paid to companies owned by the same insider over several years. This isn't a one-off, guys. This is a repeatable model. As we go through some of these people over the next, I'm going to say couple of weeks, because I won't be here every day this week. We know that we have Christmas, and then next week we have New Year's. So I won't be here every day. But as we go through this, you're going to see this is a repeatable model. This isn't just Stacy Sheridan. I'm going to be giving you a lot of names because people wanted to know who gets paid. We're just starting here. Different company names, same person, same organization paying. This is not normal fundraising. Okay, it's not normal fundraising. Yes, nonprofits hire fundraisers all of the time. We discussed this last week, that a lot of what you are seeing happens all the time. What's unusual here is the fundraiser is an insider. So not only is she raising funds for TPUSA, she also works there. She's getting a check and she's getting paid from these companies, multiple companies. The companies have little public footprint. This is what you have to know. When it's done this way, there is little public footprint. there's something else I wanted to discuss in this paper. It says the structure gives Cloverstone huge visibility into who the donors are, how much they gave, and allows them to act as a kind of dark money buffer, since the 990 only shows the totals, not the individual donors' names. So she knows who these people are, but we don't know this. The way that this is set up, donor money passes through her. As the only one listed, it passes through her. And then the pattern repeats across the years, across multiple entities. So it's establishing a criteria. This isn't just like rhetoric. I'm not just saying whatever. This shows an actual pattern to what's taking place at Turning Point. So when you think about how these people are invested, as we discussed last week, there were a lot of questions answered for me and things that make you go, If you look at where Cloverstone's address shows, it goes back to Wilmington, Delaware. And people have been discussing this address, which I can't see completely because I laid my glasses somewhere. Somebody, Shamika Jr., I can't see the exact address. I think it's like 910 East Market Street, Suite, something I can't see. Can you see my glasses? Thank you so much. I know it's so terrible getting older, guys. I can't see. 919 North Market Street, Suite 950, Wilmington, Delaware, 19801. Look into that address and you'll be able to see what else shares that same address for Cloverstone Ventures, LLC. That Stacy Sheridan is the only name listed for that business. So there are going to be some other documents that I'm going to share with you all, other insiders with similar arrangements. We're going to look at all of these examples. We're going to discuss how donor money comes through Stacy Sheridan and then goes into TPUSA. Because what's happening is donors are technically giving to Cloverstone Ventures. And then Cloverstone is passing it to TPUSA minus the fee. Now, remember in the video that we showed you, and I don't know, they always find one piece of cloth to wipe the one tear, whatever. She discussed, I don't know, for me, she came across as this widow who possibly didn't have all of the finances she needed, and how Charlie Kirk stepped in. She didn't know how he got this medication and this oxygen tank. But the filings show this lady has money. Not only does she have money, but she has plenty of money. She's collected not only her salary, but her fees from being this fundraiser guru, if you will. And it's just funny to me that Cloverstone doesn't have a website. This powerhouse of a fundraising company doesn't have a website, and they don't perform services elsewhere. So this secret sauce that Stacy Sheridan has only helps TPUSA net over $20 million in fundraising. She has the secret sauce, but doesn't have a website. I find that completely strange, completely suspicious. Maybe you all don't. Maybe you all blindly trust anyone. But TPUSA's filings show something abnormal. We have obscure LLCs with no real footprint. We talked last week about what it would look like if I had Shamika's Nails or some other name, Chocolate Chips Nails. And I didn't do any advertising. Here it is, Chocolate Chip Nails. We're doing all of these great works at TPUSA, doing all of the ladies' nails, having them all prepared for their events. But I never advertised it anywhere else. It was just Chocolate Chip Nails just for TPUSA. This is how it looks when you have these obscure LLCs with no real footprint, no website, and no advertising anywhere else. Many share addresses or offices with known TPUSA fundraisers. When we get into these LLC, you will see two explanations emerge. There's some insider funneling happening and some dark money pathways. I don't see any other conclusion. This donor money is flowing through LLCs linked to insiders, generating fees and payouts disguised as third-party contracts. Now, these are my assumptions here, based on the filings that I'm seeing. So donors are writing checks at events to vendors, not TPUSA. And then the vendor aggregates the funds, reports the totals, and donor identities never reach public view. That looks like a pattern to me. And it looks less like some genuine fundraising and more like a financial structure to enrich these insiders. They're making a lot of money, and they're being able to obscure the real sources of the money when it's set up this way. And again, as I told you all last week, I don't know Charlie Kirk. I have not spoken to someone who knows Charlie Kirk to be able to say whether he was aware or unaware. We do know that Charlie wanted some sort of Doge investigation. We see that from the letter that Charlie sent out to his employees. He wanted some type of audit to happen within TPUSA. So, and this was September, right before he was murdered. So whether he knew some, but didn't know all, whether he knew nothing, he was in the dark, he did in fact send out a letter to Turning Point USA employees on September 2nd, 2025, wanting an audit. And then we know he was murdered September 10th. There is a question, and we've seen the video of Charlie himself saying, always ask questions. Who would have benefited from Charlie's death? There are a lot of people who stood to benefit. And we're going to actually get into the split dollar life insurance policy as well, and how much money would have been collected in the event of Charlie's death. I think I told you all last week this investigation was done prior to Charlie's death. It was updated after the death with more current numbers. But we're going to talk about the split dollar life insurance policy as well, because I think people have been asking about that. And of course, it's from 2023 when this investigation was originally done. But I can't imagine that it's too far off. And again, I'm just going to stick to what's here in the document, in this 27 plus pages, because I think that it is very, it's not far-fetched that people should be wondering what they're wondering, looking at who they're looking at, and giving a side eye. For a woman to stand at Charlie's memorial like she was this desperate widow when she owns 3 LLCs that have collected millions of dollars that she was paid, it's not far-fetched to give people a side eye, because she wasn't just making the money, as she stated in her presentation at the memorial, when she talked about how she sometimes felt guilty for not being able to do her work. And she said that Charlie said family first. I don't know if Charlie was aware that she had 3 LLCs that was making plenty of money. Again, I didn't know Charlie, never talked to him, not sure about that. But I do know that the way Stacy Sheridan has these companies set up, it's not a fluke. It's not a one-off. Multiple people attached to Turning Point USA are making or was making millions of dollars. There are a lot of insider enriched LLCs. So going through their 990s, what the evidence shows is that senior Turning Point staff, they create these non-transparent companies that have no real business footprint. A lot of them are lacking websites, employees, or other clients. They are collecting millions in contracts for fundraising or consulting services. And many times they don't even go into details. Vendors like Cloverstone report custody of donor contributions. But again, it creates a buffer, and we don't know who these people are, while millions flow in and out of Turning Point. They have these layered nonprofits and PACs, splitting operations across the charities. And then we know that there's minimal charitable giving. This looks very suspicious. Do with this information what you will, but 3 LLCs attached to one person sounds suspicious to me. Lion Rock Ventures, one of her companies, was paid over $110,000. Fundraising activities. Receiving over $5 million while being employee there for work that you felt guilty yourself that you couldn't even do sounds suspicious to me. Because if you weren't able to do your actual job with Turning Point because your husband was sick, God rest his soul, I'm not sure how you were able to be this guru of a fundraiser. Something went lacking, but it definitely wasn't her bank account. Something went overlooked, but it wasn't her bank account. Something she felt guilty about, but it wasn't her bank account. All 3 LLCs are registered to Stacy Sheridan. Over $5 million, some of it collected during a time that she herself said she couldn't even do her work. I don't know about y'all, but that sounds very strange to me. Very suspicious. Let's see what you all are saying in the chat. Hi, Chad. Hi, Khalees. Hi, Thomas. Thomas is reminding you all to hit the like button. Hi, Ryan. Merry Christmas to you. He says, wait, what? Wait, hold all the way up. That appears to be a form of money laundering. Are the principles the same on all of them? Yes. I mean, I wasn't going to use the term. But again, y'all let the chips fall where it may. Okay. Ryan, thank you for reposting this. Can we get a 2-hour show this week? I don't even know if I'm going to do another show this week. You said she is an employee who gets paid to fundraise as a paid function. She has multiple LLCs that do fundraising, and the employee is the principal LLC and employee. What the hell? Looks suspicious. Ryan says, wow, thank you for sharing this information. TPUSA, Faith is full of NAR, corruption. See Gen X girl on X. Redacted News has been covering this as well. Ryan says, I believe he knew something was amiss. How much? Don't know. Right. And that's my assumption, Ryan, as well, which is why he wanted an investigation. I just don't know how much he knew. But I have been saying since this hit my inbox and then my desk, because I had to print some of this information out. I have been saying that it felt like they needed to get him out of the way. And it seems he has been worth more dead than he was worth alive. These are just my assumptions. This is aside from the facts that I've given you all. Hey, Carolyn, shoot, I was thinking you took the week off. I will have to go look at your show later. Oh, yeah. I was intending to take the week off, but I had so many people saying, give us some names. So I wanted to let you all know that I have names. I have information, and I wasn't just pulling your leg. That's not how I operate. I have names, and it's not just her. There are other people with some dealings in TPUSA that look quite shady. Stacy was just the first one I pulled out because she had that long speech at the memorial service. We are continuously seeing her with Erica Kirk. She was with Erica when Trump awarded Charlie with the Medal of Freedom. I think that's what he got. She was right there holding Erica's hand. We've seen her in the Suburban with Erica. There are people speculating that she was the one filming Erica over Charlie's body. I don't know, because I haven't seen any video footage of the person filming the video. So this is just speculation from my part. So she was the first one to pull out because, I mean, she made herself a target for me, looking real suspicious. I'm tired of the one Kleenex pat. It's annoying. A shell, and there are multiple shell companies attached to Turning Point USA. And I'm so glad you get this. That obscures money coming in, but goes to TPUSA clean. Julia Collins says Trump was indicted by the first grand jury in every case, but grand juries keep declining to indict Letitia James, Schiff, and Swalwell for mortgage fraud. I thought you could indict a ham sandwich. You know, Julia, that may be something to look into after we get through what's going on, because I have a lot of independent contractors here, a lot of names to throw out to you guys. Some of these people you have never heard of before. I have never heard of them. Again, I saw Stacy on the stage during Charlie's memorial. But there's one particular person in here, very public figure, especially when it comes to TPUSA, that also has shell company. So double dipping, not only in salary, but elsewhere. The amount of consultants, fundraisers, contractors, it's a lot. It's a lot. And I told you all, I was going to keep these brief and short so that we can get through them. But also, I just wanted to let you know that I do have names, that I will be sharing names with you all. I'm not going to pull your leg about that. It's just a lot. I'm not making that up when I say the information that I was given blew my mind. Simply because, and I told you all last week, I have spoken at more than one fundraiser during my time, being involved with politics, and it frustrates me that anybody would be doing this with the wrong motive. Every time I have been asked to speak, I'm gonna attempt to take these off now that I've had them on. Every time I've been asked to speak, and I go to an event or even a donor's home, I have gone with the purest intentions, thinking that the need is urgent. Money will be spent the way it's supposed to be spent. And listen, from what I know, the organizations that I have traveled with are upfront and honest. If they aren't, I'll be doing an expose on them as well. But I know exactly how we pull on the heartstrings of donors, how they are emotionally invested, happy that somebody is on the front line and just want to give. Sometimes some of them are older. Maybe they don't want their faces attached, but they are genuinely concerned about the country. And so they want to put money behind it. So for people, and I don't care if you look and say, well, they have millions of dollars. Some of them have money to just throw around. But I just personally think it's wrong when you stand in front of somebody and say, oh, this is urgent. We need you or we're going to lose the country. We need you to write a check or this election, we're going to lose. And then what's going to happen? And all the while, you're only doing this, you're only putting these events on because they line your pockets. That's very dishonest. I don't like that type of inauthenticity. I think it's wrong. And I feel like anybody doing it should be exposed. Because I don't leave my family to get on a plane having to go through a crowded airport to come to somebody's house, telling them how important their money is to the cause for some BS. So I was happy to be the platform to present this information. I was happy to take the time to go through this paperwork because I think it's wrong. Again, I don't know if I'll be here tomorrow. We do know that it's a holiday week. But if I do, I'll be bringing you another name with some more money to kind of make your head spin. I'm doing more than shaking my head on this. It's spinning. Like Linda Blair in The Exorcist. It's spinning. What I'm seeing is very suspicious. I don't think it's right. And I think donors have a right to know. Now, if you don't care, if you hear this information and you don't care, you know, that's not my decision to make. But I'm going to give you the information and let the chips fall where they may. I don't know if I'll be here tomorrow. Maybe, maybe not. But when I show up, I'm going to show up with a different name, more money, shaking my head the way I'm shaking my head today. In the event I'm not here tomorrow, I want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas. In the meantime, go look up this address that I told you to look up and see what other addresses or what other entities fall at this same address with Cloverstone. Something's not right, guys. And there's so many people talking about it. I'm only one of them. These are from their exact filings. Not saying what's legal or illegal. I'm not accusing anybody. I'm just saying it looks a bit strange to me that one person has 3 LLCs and has collected over $5 million plus their paycheck. See y'all when I see you.